What's up, Packer fans? Back again. I'm so happy to be here. Had a big move happen. I'm finally back in my hometown, back in Milwaukee after living in Madison for the last 2 years. But here we are, getting things situated, getting back on track. Packers coming off a tough loss. Another game where they had a lead. Another game where they just got beat in the second half. This game they kind of made interesting. It was a fun last play of the game, we'll say. Didn't work out. There was an illegal crackback block that would have nullified it anyway, but it was pretty sweet to see all the laterals. Samari Toure got the ball. I thought he might score, but Rodgers got it, threw it across the field to John Runyan Jr. and it went through his legs out of bounds. It would have been a legal play anyway because of the crackback block, but it was fun nonetheless. But still, Packers lose to the Commanders 23-21. Not ideal. This is the season that I kind of thought we would have the first year Rodgers was here with LaFleur after McCarthy left, because Rodgers had been going downhill with McCarthy. Kind of thought this would be how that year went. Packers went 13-3, went 13-3 again, then went 13-4, and they had some really, really good seasons. Now it's all kind of coming around like I thought it would earlier. I'm so happy that they got to where they did before, but this Packers team is just not where they need to be. You can't throw the ball 39 times a game and expect, and not have the weapons on the outside and expect to succeed or do well. If you drafted A.J. Dillon in the second round, you drafted Jordan Love instead of Justin Jefferson, you are a running team now. I know you have a $50 million quarterback, but you got rid of Devontae Adams. You are a running team now. You have a $12 million running back, which is a lot for a running back in the NFL. Then you drafted a second rounder in A.J. Dillon. So you're a running team. Run the ball. They don't want to run the ball. They want to throw the ball. They keep doing that. And the Packers against the Commanders came out in the first half. They dominated. Pick six. They almost had another fumble return for a touchdown. They were up 14-3. And it seems like when that Amari Rodgers fumble on the punt happened, and by the way, it's his sixth fumble in a year and a half. This guy has got to figure it out, or they have to get rid of him. He is costing this team points and games, and it's just not a good look. Packers, they were on top. They were in control. After that though, it just seemed like the defense got demoralized. Like, what are we doing all this for? And the offense just never got going really all day. Rodgers had, there's 100 yards of total offense going into the fourth quarter, the lowest amount in like ever. So really tough to watch. And this Packers defense couldn't stop anything the Commanders were doing. It seemed like every drive the Commanders were just keeping the ball forever. They had the ball for 37 minutes, which is just ridiculous. The Packers only ran like 50 plays, less than 50 plays, and they had they just only had the ball like 22 and a half minutes or so. So that is ridiculous. You should be more over like 60, 70 plays. The Buffalo Bills ran 90 plays in a game this season, and the Packers are under 50, and that's who we're playing next is Buffalo. One bright side of this Packers game was the offensive line. Bakhtiari was ruled out on Saturday before the game. They started Zach Tom. They put Elkin Jenkins in at left guard. They had John Runyan Jr. at right guard. They put Yash at right tackle. And this offensive line gave up no sacks, only one QB hit, and played well. Obviously, the game plan was get the ball out quickly, get Rodgers throwing the ball, all those things. But nonetheless, the offensive line played well. Wasn't great running the ball. Packers, they only ran the ball 12 times. That's not going to cut it. That's not good enough. You need to get Jones and Dillon the ball at least 30 to 35 times a game. When the Packers rush it with Aaron Jones 15 or more times in a game, the Packers are 20-0. He did have 17 touches, 9 catches, 8 rushes, but the rushes, when he has 15 or more rushes, the Packers are 20-0. I don't know what else LaFleur needs to know, but turns out he needs to know more than that because he hasn't been running the ball, which I just don't get. And Packers, they don't have the pass catchers on the outside. 8 drop passes. 8. And 2 of them, so the first one was Lazard on the first drive of the game, 3rd and 4, quick slant, and he just drops it. Just plain drops it. And then another big one, first drive of the second half, another quick one to Dobbs, and he drops it. Both on the first drives of the first and second halves, both on 3rd and shortish, and both drops by the receivers. And granted, a lot of the throws from Rodgers were off. Throwing it to Aaron Jones out of the backfield, a lot of those were off. He didn't give Jones, a good pass where he could run after the catch. And a lot of these other throws, some of the like to Dobbs and the other guys, were just low and away and just in weird spots, making it really difficult to catch. These guys have enough going on. They need a good ball. And no excuses. They have to catch it. But 8 drop balls, 0 for 7 on 3rd down, running under 50 plays, drops on 3rd down. That's just not a winning formula for any team at all. And now the Packers have the Buffalo Bills, who are 5-1, coming off a bye. So now Packers not only have to play against one of the best teams in the league, they have to go to Buffalo on Sunday night, prime time, in front of the world, and they're going to get exposed beyond belief. This Buffalo team is really good on both sides of the ball. They're favored by 11.5, which actually to me seems low because at home the Buffalo Bills have a margin of victory of 34.5 points, which is ridiculous if you think about it. Obviously, they're only 5-1. They're coming off the bye. That's huge. Everybody's healthy. Everybody's amped up. Only thing about the bye is maybe there's a little rust coming off the bye, and the Packers can take advantage of that. But the Bills have the 11th ranked pass defense this season, giving up only 205 yards passing. Rodgers last week had 194, his lowest total of the season. And the Buffalo Bills have only given up 76 yards rushing. Packers had less than that last week, too. That's the best rush defense in the league. The Packers had the best pass defense in the league, but the Bills really, really a solid defense. Packers accumulated 331 total yards per contest on offense this season. That ranks 20th. Meanwhile, they surrender 308 yards per game, and that's 8th in the league. The Bills, though, they've been great. They've been firing on all cylinders. They've been, running the ball, passing the ball. Their defense has been elite. Total offense, they rank 440 yards per game. That's number 1. And defense only giving up 281 yards per game. That's also number 1. So this Buffalo team is not messing around. They average 29.3 points per game and are 53% on 3rd down conversions. Last week, the Packers were 0. So, obviously, Josh Allen's great. They have, Stephon Diggs, all-pro, Pro Bowl receiver. Gabriel Davis, a guy who's really stepping up big. Isaiah McKenzie, another speedster receiver. Dawson Knox as their tight end. And then obviously on the defensive side of the ball, they have playmakers all over the place. Von Miller, 6 sacks on the season already. But, Josh Allen, 17 touchdowns this year, only 4 picks, a quarterback rating of 109.1. This guy is on fire. Throwing the ball, running the ball, he can do it all. He's such an athlete. We've seen him hurdle guys. We've seen him do everything. So this guy is the real deal. Packers defense, they play well against the pass. They have. And last week, they did well. They allowed 69%, 95 QB rating, and 6 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions this season. But, a 69% completion percentage is what they're allowing. I know they haven't given up a lot of yards, but 69%. They give up 77% to Daniel Jones. It's just not good enough. And we know Heineke started 0 for 4, but he finished with pretty good numbers. Packers did have their first pick 6 last week, but it's only their 2nd interception of the season. Jair Alexander is having a great season. He's holding QBs to like an 80 quarterback rating and did give up his first touchdown, and he's going to have a heck of a battle with Stephon Diggs this weekend. Diggs is averaging 8 catches per game with about 109 yards per game on those 8 catches. And then they add Isaiah McKenzie, Gabriel Davis, who are combined averaging over 100 yards per game. So right there, you got, three guys with about 209 yards per game just from them. Just from them. And then you got what else Josh Allen does. And then you have the tight ends and running backs and everything. So this team is going to bring it on Sunday. Josh Allen only sacked 9 times and pressured only 20% of his dropbacks. No one really blitzes Allen just because he can run the ball so well and he's so dynamic throwing it. It really makes it tough. 5 yards per carry for Allen, averaging 40 yards a game or so running the ball. And the Packers are just coming off a horrible game against the Commanders. But, only hit once and sacked one. So Rodgers against the Commanders, he was only hit once and not sacked. So that's good for the offensive line. But this Buffalo defense is going to get after it. Von Miller, the Ed Oliver in the middle. I'm super worried about this game. It could really, really expose this Packers team. They've already been beaten against teams that they should win against. And now this is a team that should dominate the Packers, and it really could get ugly quickly. I just hope the Packers make it somewhat of a game. They stay in it as long as they can. Don't give up the big plays, and they got to convert some third downs. They just have to play better. It comes down to execution. I don't think the players are the issue. The defense has 7 first-rounders. The offense has really good players and some great veteran leadership. There shouldn't be these kind of mental issues, mental mistakes, all the different errors they've been having. But Packers on offense have not looked good at all. And this Bills defense, 13 turnovers this season, only allowed 5 touchdowns, and 13 of those turnovers, 10 of them are interceptions. Rodgers, we know, has 3 picks this year, and it's just not been pretty. He hasn't been able to throw the ball downfield much. He hasn't been able to really get, acclimated with his young receivers. And now Allen Lazard's got a shoulder thing. Randall Cobb's got an ankle thing. Sammy Watkins is on and off with being hurt. Christian Watson's out with a hamstring. So he's throwing it to Amari Rodgers, Juwan Winfrey, and Romeo Doubs, who doesn't seem to be on the right page with Rodgers ever. And the Packers, going up against this defense, Bills have 19 sacks this season. That's averaging 3 a game. And like I said, Von Miller has 6 of them. Only give up 3.5 yards per carry and 76 yards rushing a game. This Packers team is going to have to lean on the run, try to keep time of possession, and convert these third downs when they need to. The guys have to just execute. It comes down to catching the ball when it's thrown to you, making the right read. We'll start over. It starts with getting the blocking right, having Rodgers set up the blocking, the center set up the blocking, getting the blocking set. Protection is key to anything you're trying to do, running the ball or passing the ball. They have to stick with the run. Obviously, if the game gets out of hand, it's 21-0 in the first quarter, then you probably should pass the ball. But when they're leading, like they have been the last 3 weeks, the Packers will lead. The other team will get the ball. They'll have it for a long time. They might score and get close or something. This is kind of how it's been. And then the Packers are like, oh, we got to hurry up and get the score back. And then they go 3 and out, and the other team gets the ball, and then they score again real fast. And it's like, oh, wow, okay, well, now we're down. They need to regroup, not get so anxious when, okay, the other team scored. They got some momentum. We got to get it back right now. No, run the ball. Keep the ball. Maintain the clock. Just keep drives alive. Keep drives going. And that's how you kind of retake that momentum. They're trying to get one big play and get it back, and then they're 3 and out, and that's it. It's like, okay, well, that just shut down all the momentum. So, I really think the formula is run the ball, 15 to 20 times with Aaron Jones, and then A.J. Dillon needs the ball more than 4 times. I mean, he's a guy that as he gets more carries, as he breaks down the defense, as he kind of, tires them out and they get used to tackling him, they're not going to want to tackle him anymore. So get him the ball more, maybe feed Jones at first, a little scat back, let him get outside, get those big guys chasing after him, tiring him out, and then pound him with A.J. Dillon. then throw the ball when you need to, set up the play action pass and things of that nature. But they really need to stick with this running game. These young offensive linemen would prefer to run block. The young offensive linemen, it's just a lot easier, the zone blocking scheme. And these guys, you need to maintain maintain possession of the ball. You cannot only have the ball for 22 minutes out of 60 and only run 50 plays when teams like Buffalo can get up to 90 plays in a game. That's just not going to do you anything. Packers defense, they played well. They came out with so much energy, and it was like, oh my gosh, this team seems like they're just going to dominate today. Then they had that fumble recovery for a touchdown after the pick six, and it was like, oh, is it going to be 21-3? And then, they got overturned, and then they went down and scored, and then the momentum shifted, and it's just like, okay, come out with that energy and keep that energy. They were so close. They were doing so well and playing so great. It seemed like there was going to be 4 picks that day just because, Stokes was all over it. Douglas was almost on a couple picks. Jair had one in his hands and he dropped it. It's another thing. These guys can't be talking all this talk if they're not going to start performing on the field. Douglas dropped a few picks. So did Jair. Campbell got his one, but these guys just need to start playing better. I don't know what the issue is on defense, but it doesn't even seem like, our pass defense is so good, but they don't force them to pass much because teams are running it for almost 200 yards a game against this Packers defense, which just doesn't make sense at all with when you have an all-pro linebacker like Devondre Campbell and then a young up-and-comer speedster linebacker like Quay Walker. There shouldn't be that many running lanes, and it shouldn't be that wide open, but they run the ball a little bit, then they pass it, just keep drives alive. Commanders just kept converting third down after third down after third down. And 3rd and 8, when the game was on the line, he hit Terry McLaurin and he beat, Jair Alexander for the first down. So there's huge moments in that Commanders game. I don't want to keep going over it. I did my video, and I didn't even want to do another full analysis just because it was so upsetting. And I was moving and stuff, so now we're just jumping right into the Bills. So the Bills are probably a Super Bowl favorite. They're likely going to be one of the teams to beat in the AFC, let alone probably in the whole NFL. They've got the up-and-comer Josh Allen, who's putting up MVP numbers. Stephon Diggs, really a dynamic receiver, pretty much always open. Hopefully Jair follows him around. For me, the Packers, the game plan has to be run the football, try to maintain the clock. Buffalo is really got no weaknesses. Not on offense, not on defense, not in the run game, not in the pass game. Maybe their running game is a little weak, but when they have Josh Allen running the ball and they got Singletary, they've got weapons, so they make it work. And James Cook, maybe he's coming around, but hasn't done much yet. So Packers, though, they just need to be able to play sound defense. This would maybe be a really good game to play some really good zone and not put your guys out of position. You have Davis, McKenzie, and Diggs. It's going to be hard to match up, and they're going to be doing crossers and drags. It might be a better scheme to do zone, but maybe they will man-to-man them. Not a lot of teams have 3 really good receivers like Buffalo does. The Bengals do, and a few other teams, but not a lot of them. So this is going to be a huge test for the Packers. I really hope they just don't get completely exposed for all the things that they're bad at. Maybe they can surprise, but I'm not picking them to win this game. I pretty much picked them to win every other game. We're going to do the Madden simulation coming up here, so stay tuned for that. Like I said, I had to get everything situated first, but we're getting so close. I'm so excited for this whole new situation, and hopefully, it's going to just create new things for myself and everything else, but watching this Packer game is going to probably age me about 100 years. There's no way that we go into Buffalo. The Packers have never won in Buffalo. Buffalo is favored by 11.5. They have a margin of victory of 35 points at home this season. There's nothing saying the Packers should win this game. And Rodgers actually said that's kind of something he's excited about. No one's given us a chance here. No one thinks we can win here. And maybe we go in and we shock the world. But it really is going to have to be their best game of the season by far. And I mean, the Packers, they got lucky. They've been giving up double-digit points in the second half the last 4 games. They did it against the Patriots and were able to win that game. And then they went to, what was it, the Giants, and they lost that game. And then the Jets, and they lost that game. And then the Commanders, and they lost that game. So 4 games in a row, they've given up double-digit points in the second half and just not been able to get the win. And they almost did against that Brady and Buffalo, I think, or Brady and the Buccaneers, I think, but they didn't get that 2-point conversion or whatever. So Packers had it took them the last second of overtime to beat the Patriots. So they easily could have lost 2 more games if Brady could have got that 2-point conversion and if, the Patriots could have scored when they had the ball at the 50. But woulda, coulda, shoulda, the Packers won those games. It could be, they could be 6-1, they could be 1-6, or they could be 3-4, they could be 4-3. I mean, it's the NFL. Anything is possible. The fact is they are 3-4. They really need to win this game for their own pride, to avoid losing 4 in a row, and because the season's gonna slip away game by game if they lose this one. Crazy thing is they're still totally in the mix when it comes to the playoffs. We know the Rams are struggled, but they had a bye. We saw San Fran lose and the Bucs lose. They're all 3-4 with the Packers. That means that somebody needs to go on a run and they can really save their season. I don't think this week is the day of the game that the Packers turn their season around. I think this is going to be one more gut check to really show them what they struggle at, what they need to fix, and what they need to do to get better as a team. Hopefully, Allen Lazard can go. Hopefully, Christian Watson can go. Hopefully, Rashawn Gary can go. He's in concussion protocol. And hopefully, David Bakhtiari can go. But I don't think any of those guys are going to play. Gary might. That's the concussion protocol, so he might be good to go. But I don't think Watson will be ready. Lazard was in the arm sling for his shoulder. We know Cobb's out. Sammy Watkins should be back. He had a nice catch on that last drive. But, all in all, not much from these Packers receivers. Not much. Tanyan, after a 10-catch, 90-yard performance, he didn't have many catches. I think he had 1 catch against the Commanders. So this team needs to figure out its identity. That is basically the conclusion I've come to. They want to run the ball 12 times a game when they have, like I said, Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. And they want to throw the ball 35 to 30. They threw the ball 39 times against the Giants when they were leading the game all the way till the 6-minute mark of the fourth quarter. Threw the ball 35 times last week. I mean, is that your identity? If you're going to pass the ball that much, you need the weapons to do so. You guys you traded Devontae, you let MVS walk, you let EQ walk, and now you want to be this big dynamic passing team where you throw it 35 to 40 times a game? It doesn't make sense. Like, you gave that up. I thought you gave that up because you were going to switch your identity to, we're going to run the football with Jones and Dillon. We're going to play good defense with the elite defense that we have, the 7 first-rounders, the all-pros, We're going to play good defense. And then we have the best game manager in the history of football, our $50 million quarterback. And yeah, I thought it was an expensive game manager. But if that was the route you were going to go, he would be the best game manager because he can make every throw. He's not going to make the dumb mistake. And he can make the big play when you need him to. He hasn't been able to this year, but that should be the identity. Play really good defense. Run the football. Lean on the run more. And let Rodgers bail you out if you absolutely need to in those moments. But hopefully the strategy, works so that you can win these games. Packers have no idea what they want to do. Some games they run the ball a lot. Some games they pass the ball a lot. 12 times last week, and then 39 times they threw it. It's just like, okay, well, that's not your identity, and that's not your identity. What are you guys trying to do here? What are you trying to figure out? I mean, you're not really developing these young receivers because everybody seems to be on a different page. And maybe run the ball, let these guys acclimate, let them figure it out, and not put so much pressure on them with 39 different pass option plays and different route combinations and all these different things. Rodgers said simplify it. I don't think they have. I don't think they will. And until the Packers figure out what their identity is, if they want to be a passing team, You need to make a trade. You need to get a guy like Devontae Adams. Oh, you had him. Or, trade for a guy like DJ Moore. Or I heard AJ Green's on the market, but he's old and washed up. They don't want anything to do with him. Come on now, get off of that. DJ Moore would have been a nice pick, and I saw another guy, I forgot who I was thinking of now, but there's a few guys out there that would really be good fits and are young and can play really well. I just Packers, if you don't have an identity, you're just gonna constantly kind of be lost out there and not really have a direction. So if you want to throw the ball that much, you need to go out there and trade for a big name receiver, and you need to set your offense up around the passing game so that you can, make that your identity. If you aren't going to go get a receiver, then you got to settle down and run the football. Fourth and one, run the ball. Run the ball. Third and two, fourth and two, and at the goal line against the Giants, run the ball. When you have fourth and one, and then you pass it, and then that pass, so I think it was Lazard and Watkins were going to block for Dobbs on the quick out to get the first down. Well, Watkins ran a go route, and he was open on the go route, but he left Dobbs out to dry, and Dobbs got hit and dropped it on fourth and one. Just run the football. If you can't, why can't you get under center in the I formation, have your guys just push forward, give it to Dillon, and just ram it for a yard? If you can't do that, you don't deserve, just punt it then. I mean, why are you passing it on fourth and one? I just don't understand it. I don't understand what they're trying to do. I don't understand what their identity is they're trying to develop it into. And it just makes them look lost out there. And it's not helping the young guys develop at all. It's not getting this defense to where they need to be. And it's really frustrating Rodgers, obviously. He's calling guys out, not by name, but just saying, hey, if they're making mistakes and they're not catching the ball, they need less reps. They need to get out of there. It's just not going to work, and I don't know who he's trying to talk them into letting them play, and I don't know who he was really calling out for sure. Dobbs maybe, but a lot of those throws were throw like low and away and not really his fault. Yes, he has to catch them no matter what, but the throw could be better. Then, Amari Rodgers, he fumbled on the punt, but he caught the one pass he got thrown to him. Lazard dropped some too. Are you talking about Lazard? That's like your guy, The one guy, though, I hope they start showing us a little bit more of is Samori Toure, the 7th-round receiver, number 83. This guy has the speed and the ability downfield to make the big-time catch. He's a guy that'll go get the football, and he's the guy that's got speed. And, coming out of college, I thought he was undersized. He's 6'1". He's Devontae's size, and this guy can ball. We saw a little bit of him against the Commanders, his first action of the season, but I'm really excited to see what he can do, and I'm hoping Rodgers is talking about him because he's a guy that in practice and in preseason, he was the one making the big-time plays downfield. Those big-time catches in the end zone are just, getting close, and they were really, really trying to get him the ball. I'd like to see what they can do with him. Dobbs hasn't really, developed into where I thought he would be by now. I don't think he even had 3 catches last year, so that kind of sent him back on his road to the 55 catch mark to break Sterling Sharp's 1988 record of 55 catches in a season. But, Christian Watson, like I said, also injured. So these rookies haven't developed like I thought. So maybe try throwing Samori Toure in there, see what he can do. George Pickens is looking really, really good right about now, isn't he? So I just, what are they going to do? Run the ball, pass the ball. They got to play good defense. Keep Josh Allen in front of them. QB spy. Maybe shadow and double with Stephon Diggs. Don't let Diggs beat you. Force Davis and McKenzie to beat you, but they probably can beat you just as fine. All 3 guys could have 100 yards receiving against this Packers team. It's gonna be a long night in Buffalo. The Packers have never won in Buffalo in their NFL career ever. Packers never won in Buffalo before. It's crazy. 101 years or 102 years of this Packers team, and they've never won in Buffalo. All right, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Check out other videos. Go Packers. Go Packers. Go Packers. Can they win this one? Can we get the 500 before we go to Detroit and then be one game over 500 next week, and then we have Dallas come to town November 13th, and then we have the Titans. It doesn't get easier, you guys. Packers need to figure it out. They really got to get this win. I'll check in with you guys later this week. We'll do another analysis and a injury report type of thing right before the game. See who might be ready to go. It is a Sunday night football primetime game, so we know the Packers hate waiting all day for that. But these noon games that they love so much, they sucked at too. So could be a long game. I don't want to be pessimistic. I'm always optimistic, especially with my Packers. I think they can win anytime. I always think Rodgers is always in the game. So guys, don't ever think that I'm down on them at all, because I'm not. I'm just a realist. I'm unobjective. I want it to be a place of, actual fact. And obviously my passion, kind of outweighs anything where people talk smack about the team. But I really just, have to be honest with myself and with this team right now. And for all the high hopes I had coming into the season about this defense and getting Rodgers back and these young weapons, it just hasn't come to fruition. And I really hope that they can turn it around soon. Otherwise, it's going to be a long 10 more games. And, yeah, we'll be watching other teams in the Super Bowl this year, I guess. So, go Pack, go. Like I said, guys, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Peace out. Go Pack, go.